Welcome to week 4 of Linux Fundamentals Byte with me, Martin, and this week we'll be looking more in depth into the command line interface. More often than not, when you're using Linux, you'll find that you're using the command line interface to get into those programs. Unlike Windows, which is mainly GUI based, Linux is predominantly around the command line interface. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Alright, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to start today is just doing your simple updates and your upgrades. So to do that, we're going to go down to the terminal. In this instance, we're going to use the mate terminal. Now, what we'd normally do would be apt-get and then update. Now, in this instance, it won't work because the parrot user that I have does not have sufficient authorizations to run it. We need to do it as the root user, but for the sake of the instance, we're going to do it anyway. This is the faults that you would get, indicating that you don't have the permission, and the big key here is the keyword permission denied. So we're going to update ourselves here to the root user. And now, as you can see, I am the root user on parrot. I'm going to run the same command again. And as you can see, there are no issues. I'm going to let it run through this update. Now, next in line after this is done, we'll be doing the upgrade. Now, updates are for things like nightly releases. Upgrades are for functionality upgrades. Slight bit of a difference. For example, Kali, which you may be using if you're doing hacking techniques or cybersecurity related courses, runs on a quarterly upgrade. So you'll have, for this instance, for this year, we've had 2020.1, 2020.2, July is about to roll by, we're going to have 2020.3. So those are the major updates, but in between there's daily rolls where there are upgrades or updates every day. So next of all, we've done our update, we're going to do the upgrade, which is very similar. Instead of apt-get update, we're going to type in upgrade. It may ask you in this instance, would you like to do such and such to use up further additional disk space? In this instance, we will be going yes, and we're just going to let the upgrade take place. The next thing we're going to be looking at is how to install a program. Now, Discord is not like Windows where you're able to just download an exe file, double click it, and bam, off you go. Discord and other programs are found on repositories within Linux, and the repositories are held in different places. So in order to install something, you can either do it a couple of ways. One of the ways would be just to download the file locally from a repository, put it onto your computer, and then use a command line interface in order to install it. And there is also something else called snaps. And snaps are what we are going to be using today in order to install Discord. So what we're going to do is go into our terminal, and because it is on the snap repository, we're going to simply type sudo to make sure that we've got the right permissions. But in this case, we have root anyway, so it's not important. Snap is the program, so that's where we'll be getting it from. The command will be install, and the program we want to install is Discord. Pushing enter, and away it goes. And as you can see, that installation was relatively painless. Now I'll show you a different method. Fluxion is a program that I like to use within Linux systems for Wi-Fi penetration. If you were to go to the GitHub, it would even tell you the installation processes you'd need. So let's step through those right now. We're just going to pull up our parrot terminal, we're going to clear it for ease of reading, and then you can quite literally copy and paste the items you need. When reading through this, we're going to either clone the whole Git and put it to one of the folders, or you can put it to HTTPS and clone it, which is probably preferred for the security reasons. So just using Control C in opening up the terminal again, Pasting that into the terminal. And now it's downloading it to the Linux operating system. Alright, so we've downloaded it, and now let's look for it real quickly before we end up using it so we know where it is. It's going to go into our home drive, and there it is right there, Fluxion. So with that in mind, and we have a little GitHub information up here, it's telling us to go to the Fluxion directory, and then we are required to type in this to run it. So we've got our terminal open, and now we'll just close that and open up a normal terminal. We're going to see what directory we're in right now by ls. And as you can see, we are in this particular one right now. We're going to change the directory to go into the Fluxion folder. We're going to do ls again to ensure that we're in the right place. As you can see here, these are all the documents inside the Fluxion folder, which is correct. And then as per the GitHub said to do /fluxion.sh. Now, as you can see, it won't allow us to do it because we are not the root user. So we'll just switch to root user. And as you can see, we're now the root user within the Fluxion folder. We're now going to start the program again. I'm going to maximize it. And Fluxion has started. It goes through and it looks at all the dependencies to make sure that everything's there. In this instance, it's telling us to run -I to install more, which is exactly what we're going to do. And here we are, Fluxion is now ready to be used. Now, as you can see there, it downloaded the programs it required and installed them itself. So now I've shown you two different ways in which you can install a program and use them within Linux. We can do it via the Snap repository system, or alternatively, we can download it physically from GitHub, navigate to the folder that it's being used, and just initiate it from there. This week's partner document will contain a link to an exercise held on Quizlet. Follow the link in your browser and you'll be greeted with this page. Simply step through each of the exercises, 37 in total, and it will give you a better understanding of how to go through the command line interface. The questions or the objectives have numbers in front of them, and if you tap on the page, it will flip over and tell you the answer of what you need. Whether you go through it and decide to do it without looking at the answers, or go through it and use it as a step-by-step instruction by using the answers, is not important. Either way, you will find some information within. As with last week, if you have any questions about Linux, please do hit me up and write them in the questions below. Alternatively, you can use the page and book a call with me and we can talk through any problems you may have. Alright then, till next week.